Let me break it down for you like this. When everything is connected, we're going to take the hundreds of millions of computers that are already out there and that we sell every single year. And of course, those are already talking to billions of smartphones, about 2.5 billion smartphones today. By the end of the decade, about 5 billion smartphones. And by 2020, those smartphones that we carry with us, will be communicating with billions, tens of billions of smart devices. Estimates range from 50 to 100 billion smart devices. And by the middle of the next decade, those smart devices, in turn, will be talking to trillions and trillions of sensors built into the roadways, the environments, the cities, the buildings around us. And what unifies all of this is the cloud. But it's not the one-size-fits-all public cloud. It's the hybrid cloud. Because every implementation will be different. Every use of this will be different. Every IoT implementation has custom requirements. Some, like the oil rigs, are going to have tremendous amounts of data on the edge that needs to be computed before it can be sent back. Others, like the robot vehicles, are going to require intelligence at the edge. Other companies and other deployments are going to require things in the core because of legal constraints, because of requirements from regulation, because of SLA agreements, because of partnership agreements. It's got to be held on premises. Every company is going to take a different approach. What's important for you is to get the right mix of technologies. You've got to find the right partners who can supply that mix to you. Now, all these connected devices, all these connected services generate tremendous amounts of data. The economists called it a data deluge. In 2010, we passed the zettabyte threshold. A zettabyte is a million gigabytes of data. That's how much data we generated in 2010. By 2014, we'd quadrupled that figure. By 2020, we'll see a 40-fold increase in the amount of data that we generate. The company that creates these estimates is IDC, and they predict that by 2025, that 44 zettabyte figure will be quadrupled. We're growing data so fast that it escapes our ability to comprehend it. And that's why we need cognitive computing. That's why we need machine learning to help us master these giant data sets. So when we talk about the Internet of Everything or the Internet of Things, what we're really talking about is a tightly integrated system. All of these different systems that I've shown you so far in this talk. The billions of smart devices talking to trillions of sensors. All connected to cloud computers on the edge, in the core. Delivering digital services, dynamic digital services. And as people use them, they generate tremendous amounts of data that come back. Huge data sets that require cognitive computing and machine learning for us to master. When we talk about the Internet of Things, this is what we're talking about. This is the architecture of the future. That's the basis. That's the foundation for the software-defined society. But we're not there yet. There are some big problems. There are big challenges ahead. Every week, it seems, we hear about a problem with the way we handle data. Malware attacks, ransomware attacks, data spills, data breaches. In Internet of Things in the scale of millions that have been compromised and turned into a botnet. It's not a data crisis, it's a leadership crisis. We need to address this issue or we're never going to get to that vision of the Internet of Things. This is a gigantic challenge that's between us and that vision of the Internet of Things. And you're the people to solve it. We need a new kind of leadership. Your CEO is not going to solve this problem. May not even be aware of the dimensions of this problem. Your CFO certainly isn't going to solve this problem because they're trying to cut IT spending. And I guarantee you, your chief marketing officer is not going to solve the problem. They're contributing to the problem because every time they launch a new cloud-based service, they're delighted with the idea that they can launch these things so fast. They're contributing to data sprawl. They're contributing to this massive spread of information. The burden is going to fall on you. The leadership burden will fall on the people in this room. And so it's time for this group to make a decision. Everyone in this room is going to make a decision right now. You're going to decide whether you're going to be proactive or reactive. Now, we hear those terms all the time. Let me illustrate it for you really clearly. Proactive. This is proactive. Grab the bull by the horns. Deal with this issue. Confront it. Make it the main part of your job. Because we've got to wrestle this beast to the ground or we're never going to get to that vision of the Internet of Things. And this is reactive. This is reactive, running from the bulls. For too many years, our IT departments have been conditioned to be reactive. People come to them with problems and they solve the problem. That's built in now into most organizations. Most companies have an expectation that their IT department is sort of like a firefighting group that just solves problems. So whether you use the metaphor of running from the bulls or changing tires or fighting fires, the point is that we've been conditioned in the IT teams in most companies to be reactive. We're passive. We wait for the problem to come. Now we need a new kind of leadership. We need a new model for leadership. And it's going to come from the people in this room. The CIOs are going to step up to a new role where they define a model for data governance that spans all of the cloud-based apps in the company. They're going to set the new standards for data security and enforce them. And I encourage everybody in this room to make that decision, to be proactive instead of reactive, and lead your team to that.